One should now develop the bodhicitta. At first, one should meditate intently on the sameness of oneself and others, reflecting like this. All have the same suffering and happiness as I, so I should protect others as I protect myself. One should now develop the bodhicitta. At first, one should meditate intently on the sameness of oneself and others, reflecting like this. All have the same suffering and happiness as I, so I should protect others as I protect myself. So this is Shantideva describing his meditation to develop, to bring about the arising of the bodhicitta. There are many different meditations throughout the Buddhist tradition that are concerned with the development and the cultivation of the bodhicitta. With these words, the words I've just quoted, Shantideva describes a sequence of meditations to bring about the full realization of self and others, the full realization of the sameness of self and others. So this is something that we can introduce into our Padmavajra meditation practice, the cultivation of loving kindness meditation. Padmavajra itself, if you do it deeply enough, can bring about the arising of the bodhicitta. And it really is a very simple and fundamental realization, this realization of the sameness of self and others, the meditation and reflection that leads to this realization. It's fundamental to truly human life and to truly human society, realizing that there is no fundamental difference between ourselves and others, all others. Fully realizing this brings about the arising of the bodhicitta. So let's approach this using the Padmavajra meditation practice. So of course, in the first stage of that meditation practice, we become, first of all, very aware of ourselves. We are aware of our aliveness, our living beingness, our wakefulness, and we reflect. We in fact know very well, we just have to recognize this, that we don't want to suffer, we don't want to be in pain, we want to be happy, we want to be well, and we want to feel secure, we want to feel at ease. And being Buddhists, we even wish for the highest happiness, for nirvana, nibbānam paramam sukham. Nirvana is the supreme bliss, as the Buddha says. We long for that. That can be there in our meditation practice in the first stage of the Padmavajra. So we need to contact those fundamental, basic human wishes. It's fine to contact those desires, those motivations. They're very, very important to us. And in each of the other stages of the Padmavajra, we reflect that each one of those people, and beyond that, all beings, in fact, each person and all beings, they are exactly the same as us. There is no difference, there's no iota of difference in this respect. Each one of those people, each one of them and all of them, they don't want to suffer, they don't want to be in pain, they want to be happy, they want to feel secure, they want to feel protected, they want to be treated well, as we wish to be treated well. They want, even deep down, the highest happiness. If you were to ask people, well, what do you really want in life? If you were to question them, they might even end up talking about nirvana. They might not even know that it's nirvana that they're talking about. But if you ask them what they really wanted deep down, they'd probably describe a state of lasting happiness, peace, security, serenity. So reflect like this. They're the same. All those other people are exactly the same as us. We need no information than that, other than the fact that they're living beings. We don't need all the details of their life. We know deeply, deep down, they are the same as ourselves. So wish with your heart strongly, as you would wish for yourself, their happiness, their well-being. Really strongly wish that for them, not just as a thought, but a thought charged with very, very strong emotion. And in this way, begin to realize the non-difference of self and others. Now, Shantideva describes this in the Bodhicharyavatara using quite a lot of words, quite a lot of argument, quite subtle argument. But really, the reflections need to be happening in a state of samadhi. You've established some absorption, some shamatha. So they're not just reflections, they're more like imaginings. You're imagining that self and other, you and others, are the same, are non-different. And as he goes on, Shantideva goes even deeper. He starts to reflect profoundly on anatman, on no fixed and permanent self, no essence. He reflects that there is no essence within himself, within oneself. We've just become attached. We've just attached an idea of a self to this framework. And this framework actually came from our parents. It came from the drops of seed and blood from our parents. So we've attached a self to this framework. We're always attaching a notion of a self to this framework. So he says, why not instead imagine yourself in another? Why just associate it with this framework? Why not associate it with another's framework? Why not imaginatively identify with others, with a particular person, one person, with all persons, with all beings? Feel as they feel. See the world as they see the world. Understand them from their side. Understand them from their side, the way they look at the world. So this moves to a deeper realization, what Shantideva calls paratma parivarsana, the magical exchange of self and other. And he said that whoever wants to liberate oneself and others quickly must practice this. It's this profound imaginative identification with others. In the Vimalakirti Nidesha, Vimalakirti in describing the great love, the Maha Maitri of the Bodhisattva, the Maha Maitri that comes out of their realization of emptiness, Vimalakirti speaks of the great love which is non-dual because it transcends both self and other. And if you enter Metta Bhavana, Maitri Bhavana, in this way, if you can introduce these kinds of reflections, if in the Metta Bhavana you're, as it were, leaving yourself behind to identify with others. Metta Bhavana, as Bhante said, Sangharakshita said, is an ecstatic practice. An ecstatic practice. Ecstasy comes from a verbal root meaning to stand outside of yourself. And that's what you're doing in the Metta Bhavana. You're leaving yourself behind to identify with others, with all others. Your heart has become capable of identifying with every form, with any form. And when you meditate on Metta Bhavana in this way, as you go on, you begin to experience metta as the practice starts to reach its climax in its last stages, that the metta in a way has no centre. The Maitri is not emanating from you as a centre. If you like, the Maitri, the metta, is boundless and free-flowing, free-floating. It really is all-inclusive, loving kindness, which is manifesting in all beings all around you. It becomes then a force, a blessing, affecting the world. In the Bodhisattva tradition, in different Bodhisattva traditions, Dhyana Paramita, the perfection of meditation, describes the Bodhisattva's meditation as involving profound absorptions that have a direct impact on people, on beings, on life. That meditation itself directly alleviates all kinds of suffering and raises people to higher states of consciousness. And we know from our own experience that sometimes we really can feel that others are directing their loving kindness towards us, even though they're far away. You can feel touched by their Maitri. When I lived in India with Lokamitra in the very early days of starting the movement in India, I remember when Lokamitra went travelling and I was left alone in Pune to do the Dharma work, left alone, but I did have my Indian friends, but I felt, I was very young at the time, and I did feel, quite alone, and I could feel on occasion Lokamitra sending his metta towards me, and I could feel it affecting me positively. And we had a talk when he came back. I said, on this particular day, were you doing metta bhavana in my direction? He said, yes, I was. I was really thinking of you, and I really felt it, and we were very, very keen in those days, Lokamitra and I, to get up in the middle of the night to do what we call the Order Metta Bhavana, which is done once a month. In those days it was done on the first Friday of every month at 7 o'clock UK time, and we'd get up at midnight in India to coincide our Order Metta Bhavana with the Order Metta Bhavana in the UK. And we really felt connected with our brothers and sisters in the Dharma through that. Some people might find this a rather strange way of talking, that our meditation can actually affect and impact on the world, but the tradition says if you become very, very absorbed in meditation, if your samadhi is particularly deep, you really can positively affect the world around you. You can have a very positive impact. And let's face it, there are so many negative and anxious and fearful and aversive thoughts being sent out into the world. Well, let's push that back through daily metta bhavana, and let's have the faith and confidence to have the feeling, the sense that our thoughts and our emotions in meditation aren't just happening inside our own consciousness, they are a force that's going out into the world, positively affecting the world around us. So aim your metta bhavana, aim your meditation generally, your meditation practice, at exalted bodhisattva meditation, magically affecting the world around you and the people and the beings within it.